Oh, he had some tattoos that are interpreted that way. But let's move on.
Wait a minute. Hey, Terry.
He did not have the letter MS13.
It says MS13.
That was photoshopped. So let me
That was photoshopped, Terry. You can't do that. Hey, they're giving you the big break of a lifetime. You know, you're doing the interview. I picked you because, frankly, I never heard of you, but that's okay. But I picked you, Terry. But you're not being very nice. He had MS13 tattooed.
We'll agree to disagree. I want to move on to something else.
Terry,
Oh, he had some tattoos that are
Everybody, thanks so much for joining me here at Courageous Media, the Chris Highland Show. Really appreciate you rolling up. We got a great show for you today. We are got to cover Donald Trump in his 100-day interview, which he granted to ABC. I don't know. Was he just trolling him? This was absolutely hilarious. To watch this entire interview, Terry Moran is completely he's out of his depth. And Trump just destroys him over and over again. I think this comes down to the fact that Trump is no longer scared of the mainstream media. Not that he ever was scared, but the mainstream media 8 years ago had an element of power that they no longer have. The mainstream media 8 years ago could fact check people. They could peddle lies. They could do all sorts of things, but they can't do that now because now we're the media. The mainstream media is no longer the media. And now they get fact checked in real time by tens of millions of Americans who have access to the same data that they do. In fact, a lot more because those Americans are willing to go look and actually do journalisming things that the mainstream media is never willing to do because they're not actual journalists. They are propaganda mouthpieces. And Terry Moran, the unknown at ABC, was trying desperately to be the drive-by media. If anybody remembers Rush Limbaugh and his classic portrayal of the mainstream media, he called them the drive-by media. They were nothing more than gangland thugs driving by, riddling somebody with bullets, and then running off to the safety of their territory. Well, that doesn't work anymore. He's trying desperately to do it, but he's getting fact-checked by Trump in real time, and they're getting fact-checked by tens of millions of Americans in real time. This is absolutely amazing. Thanks so much for rolling up. Please let us know you're here in the comments. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get right into this. We've got the several clips from the Trump interview, 100 days with ABC in the Oval Office. Here we go.
Do you think the reputation of the United States has gone down under your presidency?
No, I think it's gone way up, and I think we're a respected country again. We were laughed at all over the world. We had a president that couldn't walk up a flight of stairs, couldn't walk down a flight of stairs, couldn't walk across a stage without falling. We had a president that was grossly incompetent. You knew it, I knew it, and everybody knew it, but you guys didn't want to write it because you're fake news.
All right. Thank you.
And by the way, ABC is one of the worst. I have to be honest with you.
Thank you. Do you think...
So Trump just lays into him. So do you think the U.S. is not respected? I mean, of course we're respected. We're respected because we have an actual man, an actual leader, an actual alpha male sitting behind the Resolute desk. We have an actual person with a brain sitting behind the Resolute desk, one that it functions at a normal pace. As he said, no, because now we're respected. Yes, we weren't respected before because we had a president who was incompetent, who couldn't walk upstairs, downstairs, off a stage, on a stage, had no idea where he was having auto pens signed, everything. His wife was running the show. And then he looked right at Terry Moran and goes, you knew it, I knew it, everybody knows it, but you wouldn't want to report on it because you're fake news. And all Terry Moran can say is, thank you. Thank you. Donald Trump is in his element, sitting in the Oval Office, just owning this clown. Hey, Resnap, thanks so much for rolling up. Really appreciate you being here. You guys are the best. We got a bunch of people watching. Please smash that like button, subscribe, turn on the notifications. Let everybody know that we are over here now at the Chris Highland Show. Evidently, YouTube has been blocking the notifications, and I've been posting to the old Courageous Media site. So trying to figure this whole YouTube situation out. But here we are. We are monetized, trying to get the other channel monetized as well. Still working on that. But Thanks everybody for being here. Resnap, thanks so much. So let's check out. We've got more clips from that. Donald Trump just absolutely destroyed Moran in this interview. I just think it's crazy. And in the middle of all this, ABC is being forced to pay Trump $15 million to settle the Stephanopoulos liable for rape/sexual assault case that they settled because they knew they were going to lose. And it's just absolutely amazing, to the point now that Disney is itching to dump ABC and ESPN because I think they're absolutely trashing what's left of Disney's image that they haven't trashed themselves. But anyway, let's dive in. We've got more clips. We got Terry Moran asking dumb questions and Trump just destroying him. Here we go.
I want to ask one question about Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. There's a lot of turmoil at the Pentagon right now. There's the signal chat with his wife on it where he's discussing that attack in Yemen. There's another signal chat discussing the attack on Yemen. There's a reporter accidentally involved. You said the other day that you had a talk with the secretary. Did you take him to the woodshed?
I had a talk with him, and whatever I said, I probably wouldn't be inclined to tell you. But we had a good talk. He's a talented guy. He's young, he's smart, highly educated, and I think he's going to be a very good hopefully a great defense secretary, but he'll be a very good defense secretary.
You have 100% confidence in Pete Hegseth?
I don't have 100% confidence in anything, okay? Anything. Do I have 100%? It's a stupid question. Look.
It's a pretty important position.
No. You don't have 100%. Only a liar would say I have 100% confidence. I don't have 100% confidence that we're going to finish this interview.
We will.
Of course you don't. Because Trump, like everybody else, knows that there are lots of things you cannot control. You cannot control people. You cannot control circumstances. As he said, he cannot control if somebody doesn't drop a nuke on the White House during the middle of the interview, or that the earth doesn't open up and swallow everybody up. All of those things are possibilities. Very remote possibilities, but it could happen. But he's absolutely right. He absolutely is behind Pete Hegseth because Pete Hegseth is doing a phenomenal job where it counts. Now, this whole Signal Gate nonsense, I think this is an administrative state op from the get-go. I think the Trump administration is still littered with administrative state establishment agents who are trying to wreak havoc, just like they did in the first administration. You've got staffers and aides who should have been better vetted. Laura Loomer's been doing a great job of showing where the Trump administration has poor vetting. They've let bad people into the administration. They need to get rid of all those people. But in the meantime, you've got them doing what they can to wreak havoc, especially in the Department of Defense, which is a $1 trillion, under Biden was a $1 trillion, liberal, globalist, progressive slush fund. It was their little petri dish experiment where they could spend oodles of money starting wars and doing all sorts of nonsense. Well, Hegseth is ending that. And the success that he's having is marked by this isn't the be all end all, but one thing that stands out that shows us that what Pete Hegseth is doing is working is the fact that the military did not hit its recruiting goals for the last 4 years. Woefully under quota for its recruiting goals. In 100 days, Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump and the Trump administration have completely flipped that around. People are now banging down the doors to join the military because they trust the leadership. Obviously, nobody wanted to serve under Joe Biden and under woke DEI nonsense, under trans LGBTQ nonsense. All of that has been done away with. And now they are banging down the doors to become part of a true warfighter culture, the true warrior culture. So the things that Pete Hegseth are doing is absolutely working. The one op that they have done decimated the Houthis in Yemen. Absolutely true. Now, we've got more clips. It's great stuff. Let's dive into that. And I got one more clip, and then we're going to discuss the ABC failure in light of the broader media failure, because it looks like there's a possibility 60 Minutes gets canceled. But let's check out this one last clip, Trump talking Putin.
the fighting. Don't
You
forget,
think he wants
this
peace?
is a,
You think Vladimir Putin wants peace?
I think he does, yes. I think
Still.
he does. I think because
Even with the
of
raining
me,
missiles
I
on.
think he really, his dream was to take over the whole country. I think because of me, he's not going to do that.
Do you trust
I
him?
think-
Do you trust him?
I don't trust you. I don't trust a lot of people. I don't trust you. Look at you. You come in all shooting for bear. You're so happy to do the interview.
I am
And then
happy.
you start hitting me with fake questions. You start telling me that a guy...
Trump just destroys this guy. Yeah, you come in loaded for bear, you're shooting, and then you start asking, you're all excited to do the interview, then you start asking me fake questions. This is just classic. Moran looks like the deer caught in the headlights in this interview. I mean, he doesn't know what to do. When he tries to push back, Trump just thumps him. This is absolutely classic Trump. Trump's leaning forward. Trump's in, and Moran's leaning back. He doesn't. I mean, he's clearly the the lesser party in this exchange.
whose hand is covered
All
with
right,
a
we're back to
tattoo doesn't have the tattoo, you know.
all right.
I mean, you're being dishonest.
No,
But-
I'm not.
but Let me
No, I
just
am
tell
not,
you,
sir.
I don't trust a lot of people, but I do think this. I think that let's say he respects me, and I believe because of me, he's not going to take over the whole, but his decision, his choice would be to take over all of Ukraine.
Okay.
It's a war that never should have happened, the fighting.
So you've got Trump now talking the one signature piece of his foreign policy that has not really coalesced yet. Although we're going to discuss, so we've just made some major moves here the last few minutes on that front, is the end of the Ukraine Russia war. And what you've got, I mean, I don't know that Trump underestimated. I don't think that Trump understood just how beholden to the war Zelensky was. Because without the war, Zelensky's gravy train comes to a crashing stop. At the same time, you've got Russian ideological, political, psychological factors playing in. Russia, obviously, they used to be the Soviet Union. They used to be a major, major world power, number 2 in the world. Certainly thought they were number 1 at the time. They have now been relegated to non-superpower status. Essentially, they're behind the US and China and ostensibly the European Union in terms of economic power, in terms of military power. It has been a severe problem because, frankly, Russia should have been able to roll over Ukraine, considering their 2 military budgets and military footprints, but they haven't been able to. And so you've also got a Putin who's going to try to save face in all this. Plus, I think there are some legitimate concerns that Putin has about Russian speakers in the Donbass region. And then you had Zelensky pop up and say, no, Crimea's got to be part of this deal. And that was never, ever going to happen. That's been the latest roadblock in all this. But Trump, so that's the one piece of signature foreign policy that hasn't really coalesced yet. And he was trying to nail Trump on it. But Trump's like, no, I think Putin really does want peace. Then do you trust him? No, of course I don't trust him. I don't trust you, you moron. So I think Trump absolutely owned this interview, and he just destroyed Moran, who I guess to his credit is the least fake anti-TDS of probably all the people at ABC. As Trump said, I picked you because I never heard of you. That was just beautiful. Now, at the same time, Trump is owning ABC in this interview, and they are paying him $15 million. Trump is suing CBS and 60 Minutes for $20 billion for election interference. And that has not gone well for 60 Minutes at all. So I want to dive in. I want to show you a clip. This is indicative. I've got 2 clips to share from 60 Minutes that are absolutely indicative of what is going on at the network. And then we're going to dive into some of the news that's happening. So check this out.
I wish you would interview Joe Biden like you interview me. It would be so good. You know what?
You like this, I thought. I thought you
I don't
liked
mind it. I don't mind it. But when I watch him walk out of a store, and he's walking with an ice cream, and the question the media asks him, what kind of ice cream, what flavor ice cream do you have? And he's in the midst of a scandal.
He's not.
And he's taking Of course he is,
no,
Leslie.
come on.
Of course he is. It's the biggest, second biggest scandal.
So,
the biggest scandal was when they spied on my campaign. They spied on my
well,
campaign,
there's
Leslie.
no real evidence of that.
Of course there is.
No.
It's all over the place. Leslie,
Sir,
they spied on my campaign and they got caught.
Can I say something? You know, this is 60 Minutes, and we can't put on things we can't verify.
You won't put it on because it's bad for Biden.
We can't
Look,
put on things we can't verify.
Leslie, they spied on my campaign.
Well, we can't verify
It's been totally
that.
verified.
No.
It's been, just go down and get the papers. They spied on my campaign, they got caught.
No.
And then they went much further than that, and they got caught. And you will see that, Leslie, and you know that, but you just don't want to put it on the air.
As a matter of fact, I don't know that.
They absolutely knew it. They absolutely knew it. They absolutely covered it up. Everybody knows that now. That's why nobody trusts the mainstream media. Nobody trusts the propaganda talking heads. Nobody trusts these people. They have absolutely destroyed their reputation. The same 60 Minutes Leslie Stahl morons who were saying, we can't put on anything that we don't verify. Well, does anybody remember this little gem? This was not too long ago, and this is the reason for the $20 billion lawsuit. Here we go.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
They absolutely edited the answer to something that was unrecognizable from the original. It's not even close. It absolutely changes her answer. She goes from looking like a befuddled word salad nitwit to someone who might actually have an intellectual thought. She goes from being completely vapid to somewhat competent. They changed the answer. That was not the answer that she gave. And so the same Leslie Stahl, who's like, well, we can't put on anything that we don't verify. You absolutely changed something from A to Z. So this is the 60 Minutes that Trump is suing for $60 billion. And in the midst of that, the executive producer just quit. Now, was he fired? Did he quit in lieu of getting fired? Did he quit out of protest? There's lots of things flying around there. But Scott Pelley, one of the big wigs at 60 Minutes, actually went on the air to try to blame this all on Paramount at this point in time. Not on 60 Minutes, no self-owning, no, hey, we edited the interview. Hey, we dodged the Hunter laptop. We absolutely did not want to report on Obama and Hillary spying on Trump's campaign. We tubed all those. No admission that they're fake news and they're biased. No. He goes and blames Paramount and the merger. Check this out.
In tonight's Last Minute, a note on Bill Owens, who until this past week was executive producer of 60 Minutes. He was our boss. Bill was with CBS News nearly 40 years, 26 years at 60 Minutes. He covered the world, covered combat, the White House. His was a quest to open minds, not close them. If you've ever worked hard for a boss because you admired him, then you understand what we've enjoyed here. Bill resigned Tuesday. It was hard on him and hard on us, but he did it for us and you. Stories we pursued for 57 years are often controversial. Lately, the Israel-Gaza war and the Trump administration. Bill made sure they were accurate and fair. He was tough that way.
He made sure they were accurate and fair. No, they absolutely did spy on Trump's campaign, and you denied it, you and your show, over and over again. The Hunter Biden laptop was 100% real. You denied it over and over and over again and said exactly the opposite. The suckers and losers hoax was a complete fraud, and yet you trumpeted it over and over and over again. the impeachment nonsense with the Zelensky phone call, you trumpeted over and over and over. You did nothing that was honest. 60 Minutes was the exact opposite of honest. And that's why they're in the hot water that they're in.
But our parent company, Paramount, is trying to complete a merger. The Trump administration must approve it. Paramount began to supervise our content in new ways. None of our stories has been blocked, but Bill felt he lost the independence that honest journalism requires. No one here is happy about it, but in resigning, Bill proved one thing. He was the right person to lead 60 Minutes all along.
No, he wasn't. He's a liar. You're a liar. All of 60 Minutes are liars. The reason that Paramount is coming down on 60 Minutes is because you guys have a $20 billion lawsuit with Donald Trump. And settlement of that is going to be a precursor to Paramount getting the spinoff deal that they want. They want to get rid of 60 Minutes. They want to get rid of the CBS News division. Whatever they want to do is going to be subject to settling that lawsuit. It's also going to be subject to actually implementing Trump's DEI executive order, which I don't think CBS and 60 Minutes want to do. So they are facing, 60 Minutes right now is facing the very real possibility of their show just getting outright canceled. Check this out. These are just some people that have posted on X. I could no longer watch 60 Minutes because of the obvious bias they have portrayed over the last 15 years. It's unwatchable. This show, along with 2020, have all been bought and controlled by the globalist machine. 100%. We have no honest media anymore. Mike Robert, I've been saying the show days are numbered and it will be eliminated as part of the settlement with Trump. Exactly. They're going to have to settle with Trump. That settlement could very well be in the 9 figures, 10 it could be 11 figures. It's absolutely nuts. But CBS has dug their own grave. They dug it when they altered that interview. The final shovel was that interview with Kamala and Tim Walz that they absolutely edited the answers, not for time, not for brevity, but they edited the content. They changed the content significantly, unrecognizably. Add that to the lies they told about Trump's campaign being spied on, the Hunter Biden laptop, the impeachment, and everything else. And I believe this show could absolutely be numbered. It's an expensive show. So if you're the news director at CBS going, do I want this brutally expensive show that, hey, if I stick in any other time slot, is anybody going to watch? If 60 Minutes is the 9 to 10 time slot on weekdays, is anybody going to watch it? No. If 60 Minutes is at, even 6 o'clock on weekdays, is anybody going to watch it? Probably not. The only reason 60 Minutes has a viewership is because it sits smack dab between the end of the afternoon NFL slate and before the beginning of Sunday Night Football. It just flows. People leave the TV on, and there it is. It is just absolutely nuts. So I absolutely think that CBS could get canceled over this. Now, to jump to a completely different story and the subject of our thumbnail, Michelle Obama is finally getting what she wanted, everybody's attention. She started this abysmal podcast that has absolutely bombed. When you think about the headline name that she is, and to have a podcast that goes nowhere to the extent that hers has gone nowhere, no viewership, even though you've got A, B, and C list celebrities talking about it all the time. Nobody watches this nonsense. Well, she went on that show and did Michelle Obama absolutely admit the truth. Now, what truth are we talking about? Well, let's take a little stroll back down memory lane with one of our favorite propaganda talking heads, Joan Rivers. More of a comedian than a propaganda talking head, so I will give her that. But here we go. Hold on.
So excited. Miss Rivers, how are you? you made a ton of news officiating the wedding in New York yesterday. Is this like a new cottage career move for you?
I am so excited.
Okay.
And I should do very well because I don't charge.
And do you think that the United States will see the first gay president or the first woman
we
president?
already have it with Obama, so let's just calm down.
Got it.
You know Michelle is a
I'm sorry, she's a what?
a transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh. It's okay. She does
But Joan Rivers says the quiet part out loud, and what happens? That was July the 3rd. By September 14th, Joan Rivers is dead. Now, her daughter, her daughter thinks that there are nefarious actors at play here. When talking about the death of her mother, Joan Rivers' daughter believes that the Obamas, and this is a quote from Joan Rivers' daughter believes the Obamas killed her mother because she exposed Michelle Obama as a man/transgender. Okay. Now, so this has been all the rage. Everybody's been talking, not everybody, but lots of people have talked about Big Mike. There have been whole exposés and stories done on comparing pictures of this guy, Michael Robinson, with Michelle Obama and facial recognition. And oh, by the way, where are childhood pictures of Michelle Obama? What are the kids? The fact that the kids' facial recognition, they look like two of the Obama's friends. In terms of their resemblance, not to them. So there's all sorts of, I should say B-list, because the media will not push this at all. They denigrate it, they shove it down. But anyway, with all of this happening and Michelle Obama getting none of the attention that she actually wants, she craves, she is a narcissist. As much as she said she wants to be a private person, blah, she wants the attention. She wants it. Well, she was on her podcast or on talking. I don't know if this is her podcast or if she was on a podcast with Marlon Wayans. But check out this little clip here because it has the internet buzzing right now.
I wanted to talk, Marlon, a bit about, just so proud of how you are being a role model for dealing with a child that's transgender.
Absolutely.
And that's, that warms my heart, particularly as a Black man.
Okay, we'll stop it right there because that's where most of the internet stops the clip, right there. Let's replay that because when you listen to it, you're like, what did she just say?
Absolutely.
And that's, that warms my heart, particularly as a Black man.
That warms my heart, particularly. Now, listen to the lack of pause in that section. I'm going to play the whole interview, something that the mainstream propaganda talking heads, the globalist media would never do. If this was Trump saying something like this, they would cut it right here. And to their ears and eyes and data, the rest of the interview would nary exist. They would bury it. They would pretend it didn't exist. They would try to get rid of it. They would try to expunge it from the internet so that the unwashed masses would never hear the rest of the interview. We won't do that. We will play the rest of the interview and we will discuss it. But before we do that, I wanted you to listen to the lack of a pause there. Listen to how it flows.
And that's, that warms my heart, particularly as a Black man.
Okay. Now we're going to play the whole thing. So.
Absolutely.
And that's, that warms my heart, particularly as a Black man. Would you care to share that journey of?
Well, I learned.
So now the question becomes, as she says, that warms my heart, particularly as a Black man. Then she stutters and stumbles a little bit and says, would you care to talk about that? So there is an absolute question. Could she have been referring to as a Black man and then leading into her question to Marlon Wayans? That is absolutely a possibility. However, when you listen to the clip from start to finish, you realize that there is no pause. She says, that warms my heart as a Black man. Blah, 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 stutter, stutter, stutter. Would you please elaborate? So I don't know. It could be the Freudian slip. It absolutely could be her. It could be Michelle Obama outing herself/himself. It could be Michelle Obama finally admitting the truth about Big Mike. Maybe it isn't, but it is. That pause to me is extremely important. The way the clip plays out. Now you've got Michelle Obama possibly mistakenly admitting it. You've got Joan Rivers saying it as a matter of fact and then dying 3 months later. So I just wanted to throw that out there because this has been all the rage on the internet today, as you can well imagine. Now, one more little clip to get to because this just broke as the show was airing, and that is the fact that we've got breaking news between the United States and Ukraine. Here we go. U.S. and Ukraine sign agreement to access natural resources. So we've got an agreement now between the U.S. and Ukraine. The minerals deal that Trump talked about over a month ago does seem to be a reality at this point. Now, I will caveat this. We were here once before where we thought we had a deal and then we didn't. However, this looks to be different. Breaking. As I said, this was like 40 minutes ago. Ukraine has agreed to President Trump's requested mineral rights deal with the U.S. as compensation for the hundreds of billions of dollars America's invested. Kiev will contribute 50% of revenue to a joint fund. The deal comes with security guarantees. Zelensky is headed to the White House for the signing. The art of the deal. This just posted. And if we look at the, so this is 37 minutes ago. The U.S. and Ukraine have signed the Earth Minerals deal. The deal will grant the U.S. privileged access to new investment projects to develop Ukraine's natural resources, including aluminum, graphite, oil, and natural gas. So this has been signed. Here we've got Scott Besson talking about it. So they made some last minute changes, but evidently this has now been signed. And that is according to, several sources are saying that it has actually been signed. I would like to see that from an actual White House source. So we will wait till we have an actual White House source because this one says Ukraine ready to sign U.S. minerals deal as soon as Wednesday. That was 48 minutes ago. Today obviously is Wednesday. So this could still happen today. So we will keep you abreast of this. But this is absolutely huge. If we get this, if Trump can get this signed today or tomorrow morning, whenever it happens, or if it has already been signed, but the fact that we are back at the table with this Ukraine minerals deal means that we can transfer much of our need for rare earth materials from China to Ukraine and other places. It also starts to put money back into U.S. coffers that we have invested in Ukraine. But more importantly, it comes with security guarantees because now there will be U.S. personnel, U.S. capital interests, U.S. economic interests on the ground in Ukraine, which makes for a future Russian incursion a much more dangerous prospect for Putin because he would be putting Americans directly at risk. So this answers the part of the security guarantees that the Ukraine wants without having to go the route of multinational Western troops on the ground in Ukraine, which Russia will never agree to. So we've got a backdoor to security guarantees, which might free up some things and allow us some leveraging to tell Ukraine, you're going to drop this entire Crimea nonsense. You will give up the territory. And then putting the pressure on Putin, you've got what you want for the most part. No troops. You keep Donbass. You keep Crimea. Now let's get to the table and get this done. Hopefully we can see this Ukraine deal before the summer. Let's see. I think that would be a huge feather in Trump's cap. But really appreciate everybody rolling up. Thanks so much for being here. Resnap, you're the best. Thanks everybody for being here. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this content, most importantly, share the Chris Highland Show with everybody that you know. Appreciate everybody being here. Remember, God is good and he is sovereign. It'll all be good in the end. Till I catch you next time.